becoming one. And that is something that the Illuminati, the elite, the bankers, whatever title you want to put on them, that is something that scares them to death. Because the alternate personalities are integrating our memories, our emotions, that they can't have.
You mentioned in the video that you have some telekinetic abilities. And are you able to consciously control these, or in this personality at this point? And I'd sure love to see a demonstration. And also, do you know how, can you recall and train other people on how to use some of the stuff you learned?
Yeah, Amazing Randy would like to see that too. Most of any psi abilities that I have are tied into the alternate personality. One of the reasons that I was the shooter is because I was best at being a soldier, not the psychic spy, not the remote viewer. I was one of the worst remote viewers in the world. I was more suited to be a physical, augmented soldier.
Yeah, hi Duncan. I have a book, it's called The Mind Controlling of America, and I understand that you were programmed as a soldier. This book, the topic of the book is about women that were groomed from the time they're very small to be basically sex slaves for a lot of the people that are in power.
Project Monarch.
And for dark ceremonies in order to control the kind of the orgasmic energy into the darkness.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, do you know about this?
That's Kundalini magic. That ties in. A lot of these programs use ritualistic magic, and it is dark magic. So yeah, I am aware of what you're talking about.
Yeah, because she claims to have had sexual relationships with a lot of people in power throughout the years. Her and a bunch of women that, like you, are starting to remember and have shadowed multiple personalities very similar. So,
right.
Anyway, just thought
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. I read Ender's Game, and I just want to know, have you read Ender's Game? And I guess, have they tried to take these people off planet to cover it up? And like, how much of that is true or false?
Okay, I didn't quite understand.
Oh, have you ever read the book Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I don't watch movies. I don't read books. I stay away from it as much as I can.
Because your story reminds me of Ender's Game, and basically Orson Scott Card writes about grooming a 6-year-old to fight the alien invaders that will be coming in the future. But in Ender's Game, what happens is that, the government wants to cover everything up, and so they ultimately take people off planet. So I was just wondering if you knew.
I'm familiar with what you're saying, but I really couldn't answer anything with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we all have books, and could kind of relate to this. And mine is Transformation of America.
I'm familiar.
TRANC.
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
In that particular book, pedophilia was one of the means they used to create the multiple personality. And I just wondered, is pedophilia a part of your...
I have no memory of sexual abuse. This is the reason I wanted to do the Q&A. Every question is leading me into the explanation I was wanting to get into. My alternate was instilled due to trauma-based torture. Okay, I was, over a period of time, what a lot of people think when they see the previous interviews is that once I was taken from Kentucky to wherever I went, this was done instantaneous over one day. No, this took place over weeks and months. All right, we started out with being strapped into a wooden chair with the strobe lights, being talked to, slapped around. I learned what waterboarding was by the time I was 7, okay? Then they would start with the needles under the fingernails. They would do one, then a few days, maybe a week later, two. The purpose for this was to increase the pain tolerance. Okay, they wanted us to have a pain tolerance that was unbelievable, so that they could finally get to the point to where they had all 10 fingernails with needles underneath, and then an electric current being put through them. Then I was given a drug so that I could not faint. I couldn't black out. So at that point, your psyche has a choice to split off to an alternate personality or die. I split. Most of them didn't. Does that help? Does that help?
I think you're very brave to come to this sort of meeting. I would think you would be at risk. But anyway, you were mentioning that there were initially 1,000 recruits. Now, did all 1,000 go through the program, or you said there are only 20 remaining?
It's my understanding that there's only 20 of us remaining alive. The 1,000 that were taken into the project in 1966, we were first generation augmented individuals. They were from all over the world. I remember kids from Australia, England. When I say all over the world, I'm talking about the allied countries that we had at that time. I do know that the former Soviet Union was working on a very similar program, as well as China was working on a similar program. There was one incident in my early 20s when I went up against one of my Soviet counterparts. I lost that one.
How did your parents react to this? Did they have a problem with that?
My parents? I'm going to be diplomatic. No, it's a good question. It's an excellent question. My father was in the CIA. That's how my involvement came about. This is a generational project. I haven't spoken to my mother or my siblings in over 20 years. And I have no desire to. What do they think about this? They would probably as soon see me in the ground right now. And that's being diplomatic.
Duncan, I'm very sympathetic with your state. The severe trauma that makes the multiple personality disorder. And in fact, most of our soldiers who go abroad and experience trauma experience something called post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
So you have a very severe case of that. And I would like to suggest, if you didn't know about it, there are some very good mind-body medicine techniques that can be used to really release the trauma and the emotions connected with the trauma that could possibly lead to a healing. And when you said that you felt that the various personalities were beginning to merge, actually I think that's the mind-body trying to heal. But I think the point is that you want to get rid of the traumatic stress disorder so that you can go back to being your whole self. So if you want more information about that, I may be able to help you.
Sure, thank you. The problem with that, with the personalities merging, when that begins to take place, we really don't have a choice. We either let the personalities merge together, we let the implanted personality take control, which would not be a good thing, or we become